And speaking of people that help Tom Brady play well and people that Tom Brady like, Scotty Miller needs to get back in the game plan. We miss Scotty. I think this Antonio Brown thing, it's complicating the roles for these wide receivers. And, I wouldn't be opposed to getting Scotty in over AB because Scotty makes things happen with Brady. And I'm not saying AB can't, and I hope I bite my tongue on this, but I just would love to see more Scotty Miller in this offense.
I don't know if it's a byproduct of AB being out of the league for like a year and a half, having some trouble off the field, obviously, but it looks like he's lost a step on the field. And granted, he's only been playing a few weeks. He's just kind of getting back into the game flow, but he doesn't look like the same game-breaking receiver he was in Pittsburgh. And that's just a byproduct of not playing for over a year. And Scotty Miller, he's young. Scotty Miller was a state champion sprinter and hurdler in Illinois in high school. Barrington High School alum. Scotty Miller and my grandpa actually went to the same high school. They're both members of the Barrington High School Athletic Hall of Fame, which just funny little nugget.
Get him on the podcast, man. Get him on.
I'll see what I can do. But my grandpa loves Scotty Miller. But the thing about Scotty Miller is that obviously he's super, super athletic. He can blow the top off of defenses. I don't think Scotty Miller has had a catch in the last 3 games. I mean, this is a guy obviously was a little banged up earlier in the year, but made things happen. He's dynamic. He's athletic. You mentioned it, JC. He's a guy who is really, really effective in the Bucs offense. And he was a weapon for Tom Brady. TB12 loved going to him. And this isn't a knock on AB. This isn't me trying to discredit AB because he's a phenomenal player. He's a guy who can contribute. But I agree. I would put in Scotty over AB. I think Scotty fits this offense better. He has chemistry with Tom. He's able to play. You can plug him in. He knows the playbook. He's been playing with him all year. AB's coming in halfway through the year.
Let me get in here for a second before I get slaughtered on Twitter and by the listeners, because this is probably a bad take, but if Tom Brady's really going back to this New England offense for the rest of the year, I wouldn't hate to see Scotty Miller playing slot receiver.
Neither would I.
I know everyone's like, that's not Scotty. He's an outside guy. He's a vertical guy, but Scotty can do anything he wants. What if Scotty needs to come and fill in that Julian Edelman, Wes Welker role?
I think a lot of people don't realize that Scotty Miller is a lot more dynamic than people think he is. I mean, he's super athletic and super, super effective on the outside, but he can play all 3 wide receiver positions. I know he's a smaller guy, but he's super athletic. You can plug him in at the slot. You get Scotty coming in these underneath routes. You get him open in space. He's fast. He's athletic, and he can make things happen. You got Chris. I know Chris Godwin they rotate him in the slot and the outside and the intermediate role, but you have Mike and you have Chris on the outside. You have Scotty going inside, doing the slot things. Get him in space, and he can be a huge weapon for you. He can break defenses. I know people will hear
that. I mean, I honestly love that idea of Scotty moving into the slot. I mean, that, BA likes these big guys like Larry Fitzgerald and Chris Godwin in the slot, but maybe if we go back to this Brady offense, maybe Scotty gets some time to work in the slot. I'd love to see it.
And this is where it's not a problem, but I'm going to say it's a good problem to have because Chris Godwin can play all 3 receiver positions. Mike is one of the best outside guys in the entire league. You have tons of options and you can move guys like Chris and Mike all over the place. You can put Scotty anywhere. Scotty's a guy you can put anywhere on the field and he will make plays and he will make things happen. He's got chemistry with Tom. They very clearly, they're in sync when they're on the field. I know Scotty had a little hamstring thing earlier in the year. I don't know if that's still been bugging him a little bit, but he has been completely phased out of the offense the last few weeks. He hasn't had a catch. Like he has not I don't even know if he's gotten a target in the last few weeks, which is absolutely absurd. And I might get killed on Twitter for this, but honestly, shame on Byron Leftwich, shame on Bruce Arians, shame on them for phasing out Scotty Miller, because this is a guy who is a weapon. I know I've said it a bunch, but this is a guy, he's a playmaker. He was making plays earlier in the year. He makes guys look foolish. He makes DBs look foolish. He's so fast, he's so athletic, and he's such a good route runner, and he's such an underrated player. that you have to use. And it is a shame that they've put AB in that Scotty Miller role and phased him out of the offense. That's absolutely absurd. And he definitely deserves more looks.